things are moving at a pace that other parts of the legal world aren't seeing. The second reason I was quite pleased is I was very pleased to come here. I think this is a very special place, even though I'm, despite appearances, not a United fan. I'm a football fan. Well, I support Mansfield Town, so that's debatable, I guess. But this is a great place, great venue, and it made me think. Particularly one person on there, George Best, made me think a little bit about the question I've been asked to talk about. So, is law starting to take business seriously? Well, I guess that's all a matter of perspective, and starting from a perspective of, have we really not been taking business seriously for the last hundreds of years, certainly the last few decades? And I think there's an argument that we're not just starting. This has been a serious business for a long time. So if you take George Best talking about perspectives, one perspective is one of the most gifted footballers we've ever had, one of the most gifted players ever to grace the field out there, played in one of the great United teams. Incredible sportsman, legend, statues out there to George Best. Second perspective, never realised his potential. Got unfit, came out of the United team, didn't ever play in a World Cup, had the honour to come from Belfast. He was playing for Northern Ireland. He wasn't likely to ever get to the World Cup final. A sense of disappointment, even tragedy in some people's minds. And then, of course, there's the other perspective. George, the playboy, the champagne, the drinking, the partying, a proto-celebrity of which we see many more now, living the footballer's life 30 years before anybody else thought about it. And made me think about the famous story, which I suspect you've all heard in some form or other, about the bellboy in the hotel going up to George's room with one of the multiple bottles of champagne, knocking on the door, going in. There's George lying on the bed with all his thousands of pounds winnings from the casino and the latest Miss World. And the bellboy looks at him and says, "George, where did it all go wrong?" And I looked at my business and lawyers question and thought about these guys and thought, well, what are we saying to these partners in these top law firms and the guys in the US firms who earn more than that, and many people in other legal businesses, much smaller and much less high profile, who also make a very good living out of being lawyers? We're saying, where did it all go wrong? You've never taken business seriously. So I don't really think the question is, have lawyers made money in parts of the legal sector? Has law been a remunerative thing for people to do? Because clearly, in some cases, in many cases, it has been a good living. So that's not the question. That's one perspective. Another perspective is, and this is a very broad church, very big market. There's a lot of doom and gloom. There's a lot of genuinely very difficult times. RBS were quoted earlier this week in saying they think the UK has got about 6,000 lawyers too many, based on what they expect is going to happen. You've now got class action being planned in the US, where students who've gone through law school are planning an action against their law schools on the basis that you told us we'd have jobs if we came and did your JD, and you know what, there aren't any jobs. And we're going to see that again and again. There's certainly some very tough times. And maybe those people who've done really well at being lawyers and made money, they've done it on their own terms. The way in which you operate in the legal sector, partnerships, hourly billing, cost plus, has remained a bit of an island. Sure, you can sweat it and you can make money out of it, but it doesn't really feel like it's part of the wider business world. And in many ways, I think that might be the perspective we should look at today, and I wanted to look at.